In recent years, a term called tǎng píng, or lying flat, has emerged as a popular social and cultural phenomenon among young Chinese people. It refers to a passive lifestyle where individuals choose to stop participating in the traditional rat race, ceasing to strive for material success, or follow societal expectations like buying property, marriage, or career advancement. Instead, they opt for minimalism, contentment with less, and a rejection of excessive ambition or effort. This trend is seen by some as a response to the overwhelming pressures faced by young people in modern China, where skyrocketing housing prices, hyper-competition in the job market, and a relentless focus on achievement can lead to burnout and dissatisfaction. At its core, lying flat is not about laziness or complete withdrawal from life, but rather a conscious decision to seek balance, resist overwork, and redefine success in terms of personal happiness rather than societal expectations. This concept challenges the traditional Chinese virtues of hard work, perseverance, and delayed gratification, often promoted by Confucian culture, which emphasizes enduring hardships now for future rewards. As lying flat gains traction, it reflects a significant shift in the way young Chinese view work, success, and life itself. In this context, one young man's perspective on lying flat offers an insightful look into how his embrace of this lifestyle has changed his understanding of Western hedonism and his rejection of the traditional East Asian suffering culture. His thoughts, deeply personal yet universally resonant, reveal a growing desire among Chinese youth to redefine their relationships with work, happiness, and life satisfaction. Rejecting the culture of enduring hardships, a personal awakening. Our young protagonist begins his narrative by reflecting on how his university years opened his eyes to his own nature as a hedonist, a person who enjoys the pleasures of life. This self-realization was pivotal for him, as he had grown up in a culture that did not value pleasure-seeking or the enjoyment of life's small comforts. In East Asia, pleasure is often seen as synonymous with laziness or decadence. But as this young man delved deeper into his own desires and began experiencing European culture firsthand, he discovered a different worldview, a society that seems to embrace pleasure more openly and without guilt. He writes, "In East Asian culture, delayed gratification is the norm. Throughout my life I've been told, it'll be better once you get into college. It'll be better once you graduate and get a job. It'll be better when you retire. But this is a trap, encouraging constant deferral of happiness, climbing over one hill after another with no true sense of fulfillment. Life doesn't work like that. There is no final summit where you can rest forever. So, I choose to enjoy the present and embrace the here and now." In his critique, the young man underscores the futility of constantly delaying joy for some far-off future. He sees the suffering culture, 吃苦文化, which glorifies struggle and hardship, as nothing more than self-deception. People create unnecessary obstacles for themselves in order to feel more virtuous about their hard work, but this only leads to burnout. He argues that true success comes not from enduring endless hardship but from recognizing the need for balance, rest, and immediate gratification. This philosophy is central to his adoption of the lying flat lifestyle, where he seeks to escape the grind and instead focuses on enjoying the simple pleasures of life. Hedonism as a healthy response to life's challenges. Contrary to the negative connotations that hedonism often carries in East Asian culture, the young man presents a nuanced defense of it, particularly in relation to Western societies. He argues that enjoying life's pleasures is not inherently selfish or lazy. It is a necessary counterbalance to life's inevitable challenges. As he puts it, life is full of hardships, but the purpose of enduring pain is not the suffering itself. It is so that we can grow and ultimately enjoy life more fully. Pain is a teacher, but pleasure is the reward. He extends this perspective by pointing out that some hardships are unavoidable, such as heartbreak or the challenges of a career, but these difficulties should not be seen as the ultimate goal of life. Instead, they are merely steps along the path toward greater happiness. He continues, "Nobody's purpose in life is to suffer. The inevitable pains we experience should only serve to make our enjoyment of life more profound. Suffering is not the goal. It is simply part of the journey." This line of thought echoes Western philosophical traditions that emphasize the pursuit of happiness as a key component of a meaningful life. For this young man, The true purpose of life lies not in suffering for suffering's sake but in the joy and satisfaction that can come from living authentically, on one's own terms. In this sense, his embrace of hedonism is not about indulgence or excess but about a balanced approach to life, where rest and enjoyment are just as important as hard work. Rediscovering purpose through leisure and play. A critical aspect of the young man's rejection of traditional East Asian work culture is his belief in the importance of leisure and play. He recalls a poignant quote he once encountered. "The more things you do in life that are not directly tied to making a living, the happier you will be." This idea, he says, transformed his understanding of what it means to live a fulfilling life. Reflecting on his upbringing as a small-town exam warrior, Xiao Zhen Zuo Ti Jia, he realizes that the East Asian education system only taught him how to survive and succeed in the workforce. It never taught him how to explore his emotional world, how to discover his true self, or how to cultivate the kinds of interests that would bring him genuine joy and fulfillment. Education in East Asia builds a foundation for only one small part of life: how to make a living. But life is much larger than just making a living, and the rest of life is something you must discover through play. Here, play is not frivolous or unproductive. It is a way of interacting with the world that encourages curiosity, creativity, and self-expression. Play allows individuals to discover new experiences, forge deeper connections with themselves and others, and develop a greater sense of purpose. For the young man, play is essential to understanding what truly makes life worth living. It is through play, not through endless toil, that one can learn the most profound lessons about happiness and fulfillment. Critique of the East Asian work ethic. As the young man compares his experiences in East Asia with those in Europe, his critique of the traditional East Asian work ethic becomes sharper. He expresses frustration with the societal expectation that people should always eat bitterness, triku, in order to prove their worth. He sees this as an outdated mindset that only leads to physical and mental exhaustion, with little meaningful reward. He writes, "I never understood why people would choose to create unnecessary difficulties for themselves when they could just as easily opt for comfort and ease. It's like waking up early to study in the library only to spend the whole morning scrolling through your phone. The struggle itself becomes meaningless." For him, the East Asian emphasis on hard work for its own sake is misplaced. It's not enough to simply endure hardships. What matters is whether those hardships are leading to meaningful outcomes. In his view, the culture of suffering often blinds people to more efficient, more enjoyable ways of achieving success. Why kneel to make money when you can lie down and still succeed? He asks, summarizing his belief that there are smarter, more balanced ways to navigate life than through relentless toil. Embracing a new definition of success. Ultimately, the young man's rejection of both the East Asian suffering culture and the traditional Western concept of hedonism leads him to a new definition of success, one that centers on personal fulfillment, balance, and a holistic approach to life. Rather than pursuing wealth, status, or career advancement at all costs, he prioritizes experiences that bring him joy, relationships that nourish his soul, and moments of quiet reflection that help him grow. For him, success is not about reaching the top of the mountain but about enjoying the climb itself. Life, he concludes, is a marathon, not a sprint. And in this long journey, it is essential to rest, to savor the moment, and to embrace both the highs and lows with grace. In his final reflection, he urges others to let go of the guilt associated with seeking pleasure and to stop feeling ashamed of their desire for enjoyment. "Remember," he writes, "there is already enough suffering in life. You don't need to create more for yourself. Enjoy the present. Seize the moment." Conclusion: a new way forward. This young man's journey from the rigid demands of East Asian culture to the more flexible, pleasure-focused lifestyle he encountered in Europe highlights a broader cultural shift that many young people in China are experiencing today. The lying flat movement, far from being an act of defiance or laziness, represents a conscious decision to reevaluate what it means to live a good life. By embracing elements of Western hedonism while rejecting the excesses of both cultures, this young man has found a middle path, one where work and play are balanced, where suffering is not glorified, and where personal happiness is the ultimate goal. His story is not just a reflection of his own journey, but also a call for others to redefine success on their own terms and to embrace a life of fulfillment, joy, and meaning.